Howdy, today is my 4th out of 5, yeah, I upped the number by 1, video containing final shape footage I recorded at an event. Thank you, Bungie. So far, we've gone over exotic weapons and armor, new supers, the prismatic subclass and all fragments, and now we're going to talk about legendary weapons. Let the record show, this is definitely not all we're going to be getting in the final shape. For example, I don't have any footage of or even know what any of the raid weapons are. In fact, we weren't allowed anywhere near anything at all related to the raid for very obvious reasons. What I got here is what we were given, and by the way, apologies if I don't have really thorough footage of every weapon here. We had limited recording time and a tight schedule, so everyone was scrambling like a madman to record and fiddle with everything we could. Anyway, we got 13 legendary weapons, 6 new perks, and a new origin trait to check out. Chapters are all below in the timeline if you want to jump around. Here we go. First up, we got Bold Endings, a brand new heavy burst hand cannon featuring some very unique art on the gun. Remember, heavy burst is the new name for 2-burst hand cannons like the Warden's Law. Bold Endings is a stasis hand cannon and comes with the following perks in columns 3 and 4, which I wrote down and shoved together into a spreadsheet. Why don't we really quickly touch on 3 brand new weapon perks, starting with Strategist. Final blows with this weapon generate class ability energy. Activating your class ability briefly improves this weapon's stability. Not an incredibly wild idea for a perk. I can see it being viable in both PvP and PvE, especially if you're rocking a build where class ability plays a key role in your build. I don't know at the moment how long it improves your stability for. Again, we were on a tight schedule out there. Next, we have Air Trigger, increased ammo reserves. When airborne accuracy and reload speed are increased, but target acquisition is decreased. This is 100% a PvP perk without question, and I rate this weapon perk 1 eyebrow raised slightly up. I do like more weapon accuracy in the air, but most PvP folks I know would rather drop their grandmother into a carnival dunk tank than actively harm their target acquisition. I'll give more feedback after some PvP fiddling when final shape inevitably drops, but it's a perk my brain is instinctively telling me to avoid for PvP. Third new perk on the hand cannon, To the Pain. Shout out to whoever at Bungie is a fan of The Princess Bride, by the way, that movie's dope. While this weapon is equipped, taking damage increases handling and aim assist until the weapon is stowed. Taking more damage increases the effect. Now, for PvP weapon perks, that's what the fuck I'm talking about right there. We don't have specific numbers right now, but I'm very interested in perks that help me a lot of the time for playing no differently than I normally would, i.e. moving target, Eye of the Storm, you get the idea. Again, no numbers right now, but for a PvP weapon perk, I'm very interested. All in all, the Bold Endings does look really cool, but I'm not a giant fan of 2-burst hand cannons. In PvE, there's a strat going on right now where Warden's Law together with Lucky Pants do really good damage for a primary weapon on hunters. I do believe that was part of the loadout used in the world's first solo legend onslaught clear. Sadly, Bold Endings does not have access to 4th times the charm or Vorpal weapons, so I think Warden's Law is still the play there. However, if you like 2-burst hand cannons in PvP, you'll likely enjoy this. I didn't hate it when I used it, but again, for PvE, I would rather use Warden's Law. Before moving on, new origin trait, Dealer's Choice. Final blows with this weapon grant a small amount of super energy. Equipping multiple weapons from the Pale Heart increases this effect. Could have gone a little bit crazier with that one IMO. You already gain super energy fairly fast in PvE. For initial impressions, I rank it a here's hoping the raid origin trait will be spicier out of 10. Next, we have Someday, a precision frame kinetic shotgun. Very Alice in Wonderland vibes on the weapon art here. All weapon perks are available right here, including another new one we can touch on right now, Threat Remover. Dealing damage with all bullets in a spread increases reload speed, handling, and stability. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Bungie's gonna have to come up with a really good shotgun perk, at least in PvP, to make me take off Threat Detector in column 3, which also a thing you can get on the Someday. I do like that Threat Remover gives extra handling, but Threat Detector does the same thing, and it does it without needing a kill to activate. Granted, this does seem like a PvE perk by design. Unfortunately, I did not get enough time to test the exact level of that buff in action, but I'll say that the reload speed would have to be really good to get people to be very on board with that perk. It is worth noting that Someday can get recombination in column 4, making it only the second shotgun in the game capable of getting that perk, and the only pellet spread shotty in the game able to roll that perk. I'd like to get that roll just to try it out and see how it feels. For the PvP folk though, threat detector, opening shot, GG, no re. That would be the roll I used briefly in our PvP matches, and yeah, felt good as you would expect. Next up, we got the Better Devils Strand Edition. Nice that they finally gave Better Devils a little bit of a glow up. 12 perks in column 3 and 4. I think BD will be better suited for PvE with the perks we got here, although there are PvP options for sure. I did use it there a little bit. Worth noting that the Devils is capable of getting Slice in column 3, making it literally the only hand cannon in the game able to roll that perk. Something to keep in mind if you're a fan of Strand builds in general or want to try to incorporate Slice into a prismatic build, which I'm going to try to do. Next up, a very old friend, Origin Story, a gun we haven't seen since frickin' year 1. 12 perks in column 3 and 4. Plenty of familiar perk combos here, so you can go for whatever you like. As you can see, Origin Story is the newest member of the auto rifles that can get Onslaught Club, so enjoy if that is your thing. Not a ton to say on this one, very straightforward to me. Next, Shadow Price with a new perk pool, including one that I think it really badly needed, Volt Shot in column 4. By the way, I'm 90% sure that I missed a perk in column 3 when reviewing the weapon. I have 6 perks in column 4, but only 5 in column 3, and that doesn't sound right to me. And I double checked the footage and my notes. Again, only 5. If I find out what that missing perk is, or if there even is one, I'll let you know. I'm thinking that for the right build, I might go with Strategist Volt Shot paired together with an exotic class armor featuring Spirit of Inmost Light. That could be really fun. TLDR there, Chain Lightning the room, get a bunch of class ability energy, activate class ability to proc Spirit of Inmost Light, insert other fun ability spam shenanigans here. Next up, No Hesitation, aka the brand new healing auto rifle as seen in the Bungie Vidoc. The new origin trait is Support Frame, a flexible and agile frame capable of healing allies and hurting foes. Harming targets builds a restorative charge. Hip firing at allies while this weapon is charged heals them, with rapid healing increasing weapon damage and bestowing restoration to your allies. I'd like to take a minute to pour one out for my mental sanity. I used this gun a little bit in PvE and really enjoyed it. However, it wasn't until I was back home looking at the footage that I realized the vast majority of my gameplay with the gun was in campaign missions, which outside of the very first one, we were not allowed to record. Therefore, I have very little footage of the gun in action, and I feel like a dumbass. Before we go over the perks, by the way, I assumed that the gun was going to work like Lumina, aka it would shoot projectile in hipfire mode, but be hit scan when you ADS the weapon. Turns out, no hit scan. No matter how you fire the weapon, it is straight up projectile. Weird, but kind of fun. The final 2 new weapon perks are available on No Hesitation. First up, Physic. Rapidly healing allies grants restoration to you and your allies. Kind of a great option on a weapon built for healing, and my recommended PvE perk for the gun. You also have Circle of Life in column 4. Rapidly healing allies grants this weapon a period of increased damage. There are other options on the gun I did try out: Incandescent, Subsistence, the usual stuff, but it very much seems like Circle of Life and Physic was what the devs probably intended people to use on the gun. Wouldn't really recommend the thing in PvP unless you're deliberately trying to meme on the other team, but check it out in PvE for sure. Don't know if it'll be hard meta. I usually like to lean towards offense, but again, try it out, was very fun. Next up, Axial Lacuna, a precision frame solar fusion rifle with some neat Ikora Ray art on the gun. For the PvP Voopers out there, you got some decent options, but I'm more interested in using this in PvE anyway. Axial is the 3rd fusion in the game, capable of rolling Reconstruction, and it also comes with fun PvE perk Controlled Burst in column 4. Also the 2nd fusion rifle capable of rolling Incandescent, which is kinda cool. May try to make that work for a solar or prismatic build. Next up, Embraced Indentity, a void adaptive frame sniper. I do think PvP players won't have a huge reason to grind for this sniper. It has opening shot and moving target, but that combo is a dime a dozen on snipers. It is, however, the only sniper in the game capable of rolling destabilizing rounds in column 3, which is kind of weird and makes me want to fiddle with it on prismatic somehow. You could roll with Rewind Wounds in column 3 and Precision Instrument in column 4, aka ramp up to 25% damage on a bigger target and get more shots in the normal thanks to Rewind. Don't really know though. I'll let you know if any wild combos come out of that gun. Moving on to Hush. I'm not a big bow guy, but I did get a kick out of seeing Hush again and able to roll its signature perk, Archer's Gambit. You can combine that with Hipfire Grip or Offhand Strike in column 3 if you really want to lean into the Hipfire fantasy in PvP. Or you can just roll with To the Pain if you want to be a bad person. I may give this a whirl in PvE though, as I'm pretty sure this is officially the only bow in the game capable of rolling Incandescent Unrelenting, which is kind of cool. Next up, Pro Memoria, a machine gun with an interesting detail that a lot of my fellow content brethren apparently have missed. This is the first ever aggressive frame machine gun. I didn't even realize until after the event was over and didn't do a lot of testing, which I regret. I still don't often, if ever, recommend machine guns for DPS over grenade or rocket launchers, but at the very least, this will probably shred through ads hardcore. It can get reconstruction target lock and also has bait and switch. Again, keep this gun on your mental back burner. I'll do testing on it as soon as I can when the final shape drops. It may have potential. Next up, False Idols, the second ever solar vortex frame sword. I don't really have a lot to say about this sword right now. It can roll some interesting perks that I like, but outside of Crota, there's not a ton of DPS encounters where swords are the go-to damage option. I'll probably get a few rolls and stash them in the vault if the meta ever becomes more blade friendly. Almost at the end, we got Scintillation, the first 3-round burst linear fusion rifle that is also strand and the only 3-burst linear fusion capable of rolling bait and switch. It actually has a handful of good PvE weapon perks, which is nice. It's also the only linear fusion rifle in the game capable of rolling reservoir burst. Now, technically, bait and switch is the stronger, better damage buff by 5%, but if you're low on ammo or lazy, I guess you could do a combo of Envious Assassin and Reservoir Burst, which wouldn't require firing your other weapons to activate. Just whip it out with an overflowed mag and bam, good to go. That being said, I'm still probably going to go with bait and switch. It also has Viced Stinger as an available origin trait. Nice. That thing will probably be really fun in a linear fusion rifle overcharge activity. Gonna try to get a god roll for sure. All right, finally, we come to the Call, a strand rocket assisted sidearm. I am a big lover of the Indebted Kindness sidearm in PvE and have been eagerly awaiting another pocket rocket. The new one is strand, meaning now I can combine one with an energy primary weapon, and damn, that really makes me happy. The Call definitely will be a little bit envious of the kindness though, due mainly to the lack of volt shot, which is really fun on the kindness. But it does have other fun options I'm eager to fiddle with. Slice, Vorpal Weapon, Hatchling, bunch of stuff. The one I actually got to drop during my gameplay and used in a few campaign missions, which again, I was not able to record, was Lead from Gold One for All, and that was pretty damn fun. I am still holding my breath that we one day get an incandescent pocket rocket, but for now, I'll settle for this, and I'm really looking forward to somehow incorporating it into a prismatic build or two. Let me know down in the comment section which ones you're looking forward to the most and what combinations. Thank you very much for watching. Peace!